What's up guys, Nick here with Angling Addicts Pacific Northwest. Welcome to the channel if this is your first time. Previously in another video I was talking to you guys about covering some surf fishing setups for the coast, and specifically the two best surf fishing setups. And these are setups that'll work regardless of the coast that you're fishing, and will work for whatever species that you're out there targeting. So let's maybe go do that instead. All right, with this first setup, I usually prefer using monofilament, but I've just got some fluorocarbon with me today. This setup, I prefer the monofilament, and the next setup I'm gonna show you guys, I prefer the fluorocarbon, and I'll kind of cover the strength of line that I prefer using for each one. So what we're gonna do on this first one, it's always better to have too much than too little. So I reach out about as far as I can, and that's gonna be what we're gonna start out with. So we'll just clip that. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come to one of the ends of our leader here. We're gonna take it and we're gonna fold it in half. In fact, I'm gonna do it in front of the GoPro and hope that this shows up a little bit easier for you guys here. So we're just gonna get the line in half. We're gonna put our finger down here in that little loop. And we're basically just putting that in half again. You see we've made this little bow. Line in half. Pinch it. There you go, little bow. We're gonna put our finger into this loop and spin once, twice. And we're gonna reach in and we're gonna grab that loop that we made on this other side. Let's see, before we get too tight, we're gonna wanna wet that up. Cut off our little tag in. Oh, just went by. So now we've got our first little dropper loop, and we can use that for the top or we can use it for the bottom to attach our weight. So then what I like to do is just hop straight back over to that other tag end. We're gonna do the same thing up there. Take it, fold it in half, pinch it, so you've just got the little loop. I just put my finger in the middle just to kind of help get it over there more. So we've got this ugly little bow tie going on. Finger goes in once, twice. You want to reach through. Reach through, grab our little loop, start pulling that guy. Ooh. Get it wet. Pull it nice and tight. So now you've just got another little loop on the other end. So with this setup, you can do one dropper loop, you can do two dropper loops, you can do three dropper loops. I think we might do two, but we're gonna start out with the first one. So we're gonna come down probably about 9 inches or so. And then we're gonna wanna just kind of get this nice little piece, and we're just gonna make a loop. Make a little loop. See it here, just making a little loop. And then we're gonna wanna pinch both sides of the line. Put your finger in, spin that once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5, 6. And then again, we're gonna have to reach through this little loop, hopefully without letting go of our other end here. I'm gonna grab that loop. And what I always do for this is just kind of put this in my mouth, on my lips, not my teeth, because I don't want to do anything bad to this line here. So you can see when we've tightened it, we've now given ourselves a nice little dropper loop there. So we've got one on the bottom. We're gonna have our first dropper loop. Just go up a few inches, just make your first little loop. Grab, get yourself some space to work with here. Go back in front of this camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Reach through, grab that loop. And again, before we get too tight, we'll leave that up a little bit. Pull that tight. So one of the reasons that we're doing this little loop on the top is so you can actually just take this and clip it straight onto your main line. You're gonna come down here to our loop. And you're gonna wanna pinch the end of your line. That way we can run it.
right through our eyelet there. And now that that loop has gone through, you're gonna wanna take it and put it down around the hook and then just pull it tight. You'll see that we've now got a hook on there. So connecting to our main line, first dropper loop, coming down to our next dropper loop. Do the same thing on the second one, and we're just gonna run that little line right through the eyelet, like so. Put it down and around, pull tight. So now we've got hook. And I think we're gonna let this guy down here be our bottom. So we're gonna come down to that bottom dropper loop. And I got a 2-ounce weight. What you're gonna use is really gonna be kind of dictated by the surf conditions. Anywhere between 1/2 ounce to 4 ounces, 5 ounces, depending on which coast you're fishing. Same concept though. And go with that eyelet. Just gonna take our bottom loop. And that's just gonna run right through. So we've got our loop. Now put it around the weight. And there we go. We're hooked up. We've got our weight, hook. And now all you gotta do, set this bad boy up to your main line on your rod, bait it up, cast it out there, and you're good to go. That is the high-low rig. So what we've got here, as I was talking about, on your main line that's coming from your rod, like having some sort of little clip on there, because then we can take this whole rig that we just made, and then you can just clip it straight on, and you're good to go. Boom. Then, as I mentioned, you can do 1, 2, 3 hooks, whatever. It really kind of depends on the regulations in your area. So on this second setup now, we're here to our braided line, which is what I have on my my rod here for my main line. So basically for this setup, we're just gonna come down here to the end of our line, and we've got some egg sinkers right here. So we're gonna take these egg sinkers and run it onto your line. We're just gonna take those and just kind of slide them down out of your way. All right, so following the egg sinkers, we've just got a tiny little bead right here that we're gonna slide up, and that's basically just gonna be protecting our knot down to our swivel here. So now we're just gonna come down to our swivel, which is gonna go on after that bead. And since I've got braided line for a main line here, anytime I'm using braided line, I like to do the polymer knot. Clip off the little tag end. So now we've got our main line with some egg sinkers on there, that little bead down to our swivel. And then I was talking about fluorocarbon and monofilament earlier. Now this is the setup that I really like using just fluorocarbon with. I think with this setup being out and rolling around and whatnot, I think the monofilament's just got too much memory to it, and it twists too easy, and it's really easy to pull your gear back in and just see that you've just got this big knot of wound up line. So then we've got about 2 feet of leader right here. I'm usually between 18 and 24 inches when I'm doing this setup. I don't like having it too long, because a lot of the times we're fishing just right off the surf. So then you're just gonna want to tie on your leader here. This setup is very straightforward, and you can use it for a lot more than just surf fishing as well. It's one of the reasons I really like this setup. But again, there's all kinds of hooks out there. I usually just go sometimes with these cheap Eagle Claw bait holder hooks, because for one, they're just cheap, and they do manage to get the job done. Get our hook on there. The whole concept of this rig is to be able to cast out. You're going to have your sinkers laying on the sandy bottom. Now if a fish were to come take your hook, it can start running off with your line, and the fish is not going to feel that resistance from all that extra weight on there, because that line's running right through there. So it's a huge perk to being able to get fish on there. Now I'm using, again, a #1 hook, but I know that people will use circle hooks out there, bigger hooks, smaller hooks. Again, it's really going to kind of depend on the fish in your area. Out here again in the Pacific Northwest, where we're usually just going for surf perch and stuff like that. And so a #2, a #4, or a 1/0 hook being the biggest out of them will get the job done. But that right there is the Carolina rig, or the fish finder rig. So again, when it comes to the high-low rig, I'm usually using between a 12 and 20 pound monofilament. And then if we're talking about the Carolina rig, I'm usually using about a 15 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. So there you have it. You've got the high-low rig and we've got the fish finder rig. The two best surf fishing setups for wherever you're fishing. So I hope that helps you guys out. Until next time, best of luck to you, and I hope to see you out on the water.
What's up, man?
What's your name, man?
Jay.
Jay?
Nice to meet
Nice
you,
to
brother.
meet you, man. We're just going over some the high-low rig and like the surf fishing setup that I was talking about that I was gonna do before. So just kind of
Bro, I got
a quick little breakdown, man.
Yeah, real quick, man. I don't mean to jump into the video.
Oh, no
but,
worries, dude.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I got into fishing because of you, man.
Really?
I swear.
Dude, that makes my day.
Right.